One of the things to keep in mind is that when the defendant provokes the incident, he loses the right to self-defense. You cannot claim self-defense against a danger you create.
Kyle was a 17-year-old kid out there trying to help this community. The district attorney's office is marching forward with this case because they need somebody to be responsible.
So we have almost reached that moment. That was some of yesterday's closing arguments in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. Jury set to begin deliberating in about 30 minutes from now. Fox News contributor Jonathan Turley with us now. Sir, good morning to you. We'll take you inside the courtroom when they get underway. They've got 18 jurors. They pick 6 out of a hat, so to speak, who will serve as alternates, and the 12 go in behind closed doors. You were going off last night on Tucker, thinking that the prosecution's trying to do whatever they can to get an acquittal. Make sense of that.
Yeah, honestly, it's like watching the Generals play the Harlem Globetrotters. You sit there looking at the TV saying, for God's sake, try to score, throw the ball. I mean, there's an astonishing level of blunders that have occurred throughout this trial, but the closing argument really encapsulated that problem with the prosecution. You know, we tell students all the time, never point at a jury, because jurors don't like it. You don't usually have to also add to that. And by the way, don't point an AR-15 at the jury, particularly a murder weapon. Then you have the prosecution actually splicing in a scene from the Patrick Swayze film, Roadhouse. I mean, it's all sort of Night at the Improv. And I don't understand what's going on, because you have a prosecutor who was mocking the level of property destruction, saying, oh, he lit something on fire, he pushed over a porta potty, he used the N-word, and literally mocking all of these acts by one of his alleged victims. And at the same time, he was elevating these individuals as heroes that were trying to stop an active shooter. Well, it just basically opened the door for the defense to come in and just slam the character of some of these individuals. It was just a series of unforced errors that occurred all the way through the trial and then through the closing argument.
Yeah, you said, I'd be very surprised if they eke out a single conviction on this rather appalling record. That's your quote. We'll see whether or not you're right. Let's talk about the media. Dan and I were talking about it a short time ago. On screen, guys, call 4-1. These were the claims that he crossed state lines, the gun crossed state lines. Rittenhouse had few or no ties to Kenosha, didn't understand law enforcement. Rittenhouse shot people as he ran away. None of that was played out in the court. But yet you had the media blaming the judge, who's gotten a lot of attention through this. Here's a sample of that. Roll it.
I don't see how anybody can say that this judge is not biased and is not leaning in a certain direction.
And he's shielding Kyle Rittenhouse, treating him as if he's a child. And so I think that the behavior of the judge in totality is the problem.
This judge is an absolute joke. He's been a joke from the very beginning.
Clearly, this guy has biases that are affecting the administration of this case.
So there's a sample, and we've got the picture of the prosecution during closing arguments. This is something that people are going to remember. Why would he take an AR-15 and point it at people inside the courtroom?
Yeah, I really don't know. And a lot of that criticism occurred after the judge went after the prosecutor for committing an egregious constitutional error in referring to the defendant's silence after his arrest. So you have all of these people who say that they want the rule of law and equal justice, who are piling on a judge who is upholding a rule that has been the subject of numerous Supreme Court cases. But the other thing that's odd about all of this is it's like watching two different trials going on in Kenosha. You turn on some of these programs and they're praising the prosecutor. The prosecutor has made every error you could possibly list. It's a textbook case of what not to do at trial. In his opening argument, his opening statement, he promised the jurors things that he didn't produce. He just abandoned them. He said that, he basically said, you're going to see a vigilante who is on something of a bloodlust. He described this defendant as chasing down people. That just didn't materialize. And his credibility suffered as a result. But he also made glaring errors in terms of the facts of the case, even the law of the case. So I don't understand how you could look at this trial and blame the judge for the fact that it's collapsing in front of our eyes.
Well, you said when you say that Rittenhouse chased down Rosenbaum and shot him in the back, jurors expect to see that, and they didn't. Sir, stand by. We'll talk to you in about 35 minutes when we go back inside the courtroom. Jonathan Turley, thank you. Nice to see you today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.